Hi, Aaron Samantha here with another health video. This video is on a healthy morning routine, what I call a grateful morning. There's two parts to this, so stay tuned for the second part. The reasons for having a routine in the morning is to stimulate your mind and body and to have a positive day. We want to set the circadian rhythm, the fluctuations of your hormones and your body temperature and everything, to stimulate them to get ready for activity for the day. We also want to make sure that we're putting in the proper ingredients into our body to stimulate them and to support whatever endeavors you have that day. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You kind of remain flexible for the time you have and the energy that you have. You may have kids to prep or some other meeting that you have to attend to. So you can also put these in throughout the day, little bits of these healthy routines throughout your day. So don't be too rigid on this, be flexible, and remember, before you start or change a health initiative or routine plan, make sure you consult your health professional or someone who is versed in health and medicine. So let's get started. We wake up in the morning, and one of the first things I like to do is to get a little fluid into the body. So many people use water and lemon, that's okay. Water works fine. It's good to lubricate the mucous membranes after we're breathing all night. They tend to get drier, especially in the winter. So along those lines, I'll obviously have some water. Sometimes I'll have tea, sometimes left over from the day before. I'll heat up. And this can be a good metabolic little boost, say if it's green tea. If you have other teas specific for your concerns, there are teas selected for that. We can consult about that, or you can ask around about those. So I'll warm up a tea and just take a sip to lubricate and to stimulate. This one is a chai tea, so it's got a little bit of spice, also helping with circulation and alkalinizing the body. So going on from there, I do take a tincture. So this is a botanical extract in the morning. It'll depend on the season, and it also depends, they can be blended to your specific health concerns and conditions. So what I'll do is I have this pre-made tincture. This one, because we're shooting in the shoulder season of spring and it's still cold at night, this one has some immune components and other components that are specific for me. So what I'll do is I'll just take a couple drops of that, maybe a few dropperfuls, and then bottle that up, and I'll change it according to my needs and according to the season as well. Another thing I like to do to help my mucous membranes keep strong and my immune system strong, and also to stimulate my mind and body, is an essential oil blend. This one's actually terpenes, similar to the terpenes that you'd find in pine needles and some vegetables, in hemp products, things like that. So this is a blend. It's actually called CB2 by Cananda. And what I'll do is I'll just dab it onto my nostrils. Take a nice deep breath and keep breathing that nice kind of pine scent. And it helps me to feel like I'm outdoors and breathing outdoors, which is really good in the winter time. What I'll do if it's nice outside, or even if I can crack a window open, is go to the window and take a few deep breaths. Any part of this program that you can do outside, or any activity, healthy activity you can do outside, is a bonus. So I'm gonna go to the window and take a few deep breaths. We're over by the window. We're gonna take a nice couple of deep breaths. Great to do even in winter. Crack the window open and take a couple cleansing breaths of fresh, natural air, hopefully. All right, we've taken some good cleansing breaths, good stimulating breaths. After we've had some water, tea, some morning elixirs is what I like to call them, either tincture, teas, water, lemon. I will take my regiment of supplements because in our daily lives, our North American stressful lives, we impose a lot of stressors on ourselves psychologically, mentally, that probably our ancestors didn't have. So it's important for prevention of disease, for optimal health and performance, to supplement. Our soils, our foods are not necessarily optimal. We want to go beyond just disease prevention. We want to support our optimal goals and performance. So I do take a handful of supplements in the morning and on an empty stomach just before I eat sometimes, or sometimes if I'm fasting, I'll still take them and make sure that they're not fat soluble or necessary to be fat soluble. So cheers to that. All right, so the next thing I do after I've taken my morning elixir, my breathing essential oil or terpenes, and some teas is I take some time to journal. Again, I don't have always a lot of time with kids, but today I've got a little time, so I am going to take a few notes. So there's many different ways to journal. I sometimes write down what I'm grateful for, special things I'm grateful for, special things that I'm excited about, and possible things that worry me, stress me, fears. And then I always end up with an affirmation at the end. So take a few minutes, journal things that are important to you, feelings, whatever's on your mind. And it can be a few short notes, but ending off with a positive outlook on your day and reaffirmation of how lucky we are and how special we are and grateful we are. So while I'm doing this, a little note, I do set a blue light instrument here, and this is great for stimulating your photoreceptors in your eyes, which link up to your brain and really turn on your brain and really stimulate circadian rhythm. The more you can stimulate it during the day at the right time, the more your body can adapt to seasons, stress, and actually prepare you for sleep as well. So I have this on and I keep it on throughout my morning practice, be it journaling, or you can see part 2 for the exercises as well. All right, so I've done some of my journaling and some of my affirmations and my gratefulness writing. So I'm going to now do a HRV, which is a heart rate variability test. And that's good to measure my parasympathetic versus sympathetic balance and how ready I am and how basically recovered I am from either psychological or mental or physical stress. So this is something you can do with your phone and a heart rate monitor with Bluetooth capabilities. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this and put this around my chest and then measure a 5-minute HRV measurement for this morning. All right, I've put on the chest strap, the heart rate monitor, wetting the electrodes just a tad so that it's got good contact and connectivity. My app's ready. This will take about 2 to 3 to 4 minutes, depending on which app you're using. And I'm just going to be quietly breathing, not trying to stress myself or to deep relax. You want just kind of a steady state, resting state measurement. Good, and there's the finishing bell for my heart rate variability sensor. And it asks me a couple of things like my mood, which is nice. Other notes, sleep amounts, so you can put these in. I had about 6 hours of sleep. I played soccer last night, so I'm going to also put that in. That did limit my sleep time, 45 minutes of soccer, and soreness, other things like that. So we'll go ahead and save that, and then it processes it, and it correlates it to previous data. I've pulled up some data from past measurements. So it needs a few days to compare your data from one measurement to your previous data, so it gets a good baseline and it can see where your normal is, because everybody's normal is different. So you can see this shows a morning readiness and a balance. This one is a perfect 10, which is not very usual, but it's the last one I found. A perfect balance between parasympathetic and sympathetic systems, nervous systems. So it will give you more data like your HRV here in pink and your heart rate in red. And you can see that your values, your numerical values, will be lower for HRV, and this dial will also be lower on days that you're more imbalanced. So It may be more to the sympathetic side, where you're maybe overworked, overstressed. And then if it's more to the parasympathetic side, you're probably ready to stimulate or stress your body a little more. So you can accommodate or try and manipulate your schedule, your workouts or your workloads, stress-wise, manage that better knowing this information. If you want more detailed about, some of the time or frequency domains, you can scroll down and it'll give you more information about that, as well as you can look back over the month and other trends you have over the year even, and to compare. So that's a handy little tool, heart rate variability. It's a good check-in for your stress response and recovery for either mental health or fitness performance. So that is part 1 of our grateful morning, and we'll stay tuned for part 2 and look at some other videos that we have for health tips, and we'll see you soon. Take care.